political performance is the driver. You lost. Get over it.
Lawmakers approved plans to redraw voting lines in Texas to boost Republicans in Congress. Democrats say the battle is not over yet.
This is not over. We will continue fighting.
We look at the impact redistricting is already having, even as the fight over the map continues to a new phase.
My anguish is as infinite as the stars in the sky.
Heartbroken families share their grief in the wake of deadly flooding that killed dozens of children. The power change it's sparking at camps across the state.
The STAR test does not benefit students, teachers, and schools the way you think it does.
There's new momentum to change the standardized tests used in Texas schools. We look at what's in store for students and why some lawmakers are questioning the plan.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. The battle over redrawing voting lines in Texas heated up at the Texas Capitol. Most of the House Democrats who were breaking quorum returned to the state, clearing the way for a vote on the contentious plan. While Democrats rallied outside the chamber, inside the House, efforts to change the bill fell short. In the Senate, Republicans pushed it through along party lines. Final passage of voting maps that could give Republicans 5 more seats in Congress. But Democrats do not have the votes to stop redistricting at the legislature. And this week on our program, we're looking ahead at what comes next. Democrats have vowed to fight this in court, but they've also taken the battle outside of Texas. And now some blue states are working on their own redistricting plans to help Democrats. For insight on that aspect, we're joined by Julia Manchester, national politics reporter for The Hill. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Josh, thanks for having me.
So you've written about the fast-moving effort in California to redraw their congressional districts. That plan still has hurdles to clear, right?
It does. I mean, we saw Governor Gavin Newsom of California yesterday essentially sign what the California legislature on Friday, or on Thursday, I should say, passed, and that was essentially giving them a green light to put this to California voters. So in November, we will see California hold a special election to determine whether they will keep their independent redistricting committee or get rid of it temporarily in an effort to combat what Texas is doing with redistricting. So under these new proposed maps in California, if the California voters decide to do away with that independent redistricting committee, we'll see that California Democrats would add 5 congressional seats, which would essentially cancel out Texas adding 5 congressional seats on the Republican side. But there are some hurdles. Of course, Gavin Newsom is going to have to campaign and get this across to California voters, get them on board. We've seen that former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who initially set up or was involved in setting up that independent redistricting committee back in the mid-2000s when he was governor, he has pushed back on Newsom when it comes to redistricting. So it's a long road ahead for Newsom going into November, but I would say that he has the wind at his back.
So California voters, as you mentioned, would need to approve their state's redistricting. Any indication of whether voters actually support that plan beyond what we're hearing from those campaigns?
Well, look, we've seen some polling, internal polling from Newsom himself or from his longtime Democratic pollster that would suggest that a majority of California voters are in favor of this and that they are against this idea of gerrymandering. Now, there was initially some polling that came out a few weeks ago that suggested that a majority of California voters did like the idea of the independent redistricting committee, but it's all about how this is sold to voters, Josh, and we've seen Newsom essentially say we have to fight fire with fire. He said that he doesn't want to gerrymander, but this is about them responding to Republican efforts to gerrymander in Texas, and we've seen that that plan that Newsom has put forth has also earned the endorsement of former President Barack Obama, someone who is seen as, one of the more powerful, experienced Democrats in the party. He voiced his support and his endorsement publicly for Newsom's effort earlier this week, calling it smart and strategic.
Julia Manchester, national politics reporter for The Hill. Thank you for joining us. The new voting districts approved at the state capitol could push out a Central Texas congressman who served for decades. We're talking about Lloyd Doggett, who was first elected to Congress in 1995. Right now, Doggett represents District 37. That's one of two Austin area districts held by Democrats. The other is District 35, held by Greg Casar. But the new map moves Casar's district out of Austin and turns it into a red district. Voters in the new District 35 favored Donald Trump by 10 points. Doggett and Casar appeared together at rallies opposing redistricting, but both Democrats faced questions about a potential primary showdown under the new maps, and progressives started voicing support for the younger congressman. Thursday morning, a group led by former state senator Wendy Davis called for Doggett to step aside to clear a path for Casar.
We want to make sure that we're not risking losing Congressman Casar and the incredible trajectory he's on right now, and his ability to represent Texas and honestly the country as a whole in the role that he has right now.
Doggett responded and said he would end his re-election campaign if the new districts survive court challenges. That rules out a likely primary against Casar. He said the statement from Davis highlighted division among Texas Democrats.
What did affect me from that is that beginning at 4 a.m. in the morning, a Twitter storm started and social media battle on Democratic chat groups. And it was just indicative of the fact that we're going to have a slugfest here if we have two Democratic members of Congress running against one another. That is not in our interest at a time our country is in such peril and when we need everyone united against Trump autocracy. And so that's why I decided to step aside, not because of what was written, but the reaction to it as an indication of what would lie ahead in a 6-month slugfest.
After Doggett's announcement, Casar had kind words for his fellow congressman. He posted on social media saying, "Lloyd Doggett is an Austin institution. I've learned so much from him. I'm grateful to him. The fight for democracy continues." Doggett emphasized that he is still running for re-election to his current district. He believes that courts should reject the redrawn maps that Texas lawmakers passed.
We did not send Lenny to a war zone. We sent her to camp.
The voices of grieving parents echoing through the Capitol as lawmakers voted on a bill to prevent another tragedy like the one at Camp Mystic. And medical freedom, or medical risk, why the governor added a push to make ivermectin more accessible to an already packed special session agenda.